These are our baby goat kids of 2021 enjoying a play date in our house. Why on earth do we have goats in our laundry room? Stay tuned to find out. Sometimes running a homestead is hard work, and sometimes it's sad, like when Fluffy Duck's mom left the clutch without him and refused to take him back after he hatched. And sometimes I need to search really hard to find God's hand in the midst of sorrow. The start of our baby goat season was going so well. We like to think we have a pretty cool barn setup. I discussed everything we used to prepare for our baby goats in a previous video, but our goat surprised us yet again. January 30th, our first goat of the year was born, Pecan. He's a healthy little baby boy and he's Keely's son. Thankfully, we were prepared for that. We turned on the heat lamp for him and he was able to stay in the barn with his mama just like we'd hoped. We didn't even have to worry about rodents, who were a huge problem during kidding season in previous years. That was because of Oreo Barn Cat. If you haven't heard Oreo's story, check his video out in our Farm Family playlist and be sure to leave a comment with an emoji in this video to qualify for our Grow Light giveaway. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Part of the surprise was Tauren. This is Tauren. Last year she had a miscarriage and the babies were so young that there was no chance of them surviving. This year we were excited that she had carried her babies along with all of our other does. It was February 4th. We'd gone outside like any other day. We had been feeding our animals. We went into the barn to let the goats out and we saw them. Tauren had triplets. By the time we got there, 2 of them had already died. The last one wasn't doing well. Tauren had never had kids before. Like I said, she had a miscarriage and she was inexperienced. We got to the barn and Tauren was just laying there. She wasn't responding to the fact that she had just given birth. She hadn't cleaned the kids, neither had she fed them. 2 of her kids had already passed and we felt horrible about it. Then we saw the 3rd one. Mary was just laying there, still wet and freezing, but she was alive. She couldn't lift her head, so Trie immediately sacrificed her sweater and off we went to carry her inside. When we brought our little baby inside, she had a heater to keep her warm. Now she doesn't need it to survive, but she's so obsessed with it that we just let her keep it. And we still worry that maybe she's having trouble regulating her temperature because she's premature. We knew that if she didn't get colostrum soon, she wasn't going to make it. One huge problem? We weren't able to milk the mom. I did a video about milking last year and we know how to properly milk a goat, but Tauren's udders hadn't filled. We think it was because she had a premature birth, but there was nothing to milk, furthermore to feed the baby. Thankfully, we had an unopened bag of colostrum supplement, but we forgot something. We realized at the exact worst moment possible that we forgot a bottle. Yes, we did. Good girl. We checked online to see if any retailers had any kid or lamb bottles, and no one did. Thankfully, we were able to find the top part, the nipple, and we found that it fits perfectly onto a 20 fluid ounce bottle of Mountain Dew. That's why it looks like our baby is chugging down a caffeinated and carbonated beverage.
Hey, we got a Mountain Dew drinking goat.
Within hours, she was capable of holding up her head and she was starting to bleat. It was amazing. Soon after, she could regulate her own body temperature and no longer needed the blankets. Even after she dried off, she still won't stray far from the heater. Look at her, even during her play date. A premature and bitter cold birth had really affected her. So another thing you might notice about Mary is that she has mismatched ears. Nigerian dwarves were initially my favorite goat when we were looking at goats to get, because not only are they amazing multi-purpose goats, as I discussed in a different video, they also have these adorable little erect ears that go out. And I thought this was adorable. Now, when she was born, we found her in the barn and she couldn't hold her head up because she was too early and was very cold. So we brought her in and we nursed her, and this one never quite went back to the way it should be. Very cute. We don't know if it's frostbite or if it was just too early and she didn't quite develop. Good girl. He is crazy. We started to consider names for our little miracle. We could call her Mary, short for Miracle, which would go with our Middle-earth theme.
Mary, it's Frodo Baggins. Hello, Frodo.
But we're also considering Cheshire because of the cat-like mark on her back. Let us know in the comments below which name you like better, Mary or Cheshire. Mary just turned a week old and she is one of the friendliest goats we've ever had in our farm. Every time she gets hungry, she just bleats and mees for attention, and by then we already know that she wants food. Bottle feeding is a bonding experience for both the kid and the owner. As our baby goat realizes that she can trust me to give her food and I won't hurt her, she gets more comfortable around me. My sisters claim that the baby goat seems to prefer me over them. I do feed her, so maybe. Notice how I have our baby's head facing up as I bottle feed her. This is to prevent scours, which I talked about in my first Goats 101 video. Another serious issue with goat farmers is scours in goat kids. Some farmers like to bottle feed their kids, which is good to make them friendly, and others pan feed them. So if you think about it, when a baby goat is milking from its mom, it's usually facing up. The milk goes past a slit in the esophagus and goes straight here to the omasum. Here it is mixed with digestive fluids and it's passed on to the abomasum where it's digested. However, if you're pan feeding, it's going to go through the esophagus and miss the slit, leading it to the first two portions of the stomach where it doesn't belong. If you're interested in listening to the rest of my lecture, we have a link in the description. So that brings us back to the mysterious playdate. Why are there 3 goats in our laundry room? So this one's about a week old. His name is Pecan. He was the one that we did the video about the live birth with. And he's already getting pretty big and a little heavy. This one is Mary. This is Pippin. She doesn't like me very much. She was born last night, and if you look at her next to Mary, she's already so much bigger. Mary is 3 days old. This Pippin is 1 day old, and Pippin is considerably heavier and a little taller. That's definitely something to consider. Mary is 3 days older than Pippin, yet Pippin is both heavier, stockier, and taller. And there's God's hand. Even though we lost 2 babies and this one still has a weak bleat, trouble staying warm, and a misshapen ear, she is melting our hearts, and that's the hidden blessing. And we've even bought diapers for her to try to make it easier to convince her parents to extend her stay. But we know this goat can't stay inside forever, and we don't want her to be like Fluffy Duck, our duck who thinks he's a chicken. That's why we had our play date, so that she recognizes that she's a goat and she can spend time with goats while she's inside. And then there's Super Goat.
Hell yeah.
Super Goat was mainly a joke, but when Mary moved to the mudroom, she had no goats to be with. So Bunkie and Trie went ahead and stuck a little goat stuffed animal in with her, and it's kind of stuck around with her ever since. We need your help. We are considering naming her one of these 2 names. Mary, because it fits in with our Middle-earth theme, or Cheshire, because of her markings. Let us know in the comments which one you prefer.